Okay, guys, welcome to a bite-sized training session. This is all going to be about trips, how to organise, how to basically do all the paperwork needed for a trip when at St. Luke's. So obviously those who are new, this is what we do. Those who have been here and just need a little refresher, this is basically a quick, I say maximum 20-minute video of how to go about a trip, how to request for it, what paperwork do I need for what trip, when do I need to use an Evolve. All these questions I will be able to answer for you. And if this video doesn't answer any questions, then come see me in the PE office or just send me an email and I'll be able to answer all your questions. All right, so first of all, I'm Mr. Crosswell and my title, if you want to be all like that, is LOTC Coordinator. One of my things I have to do is be the EVC for the school. Okay, so part of my job is to make sure that trips go out and they're safe, and making sure that we're all doing things the right way. So myself and Mr. Capel have worked together to create procedure and bits of paperwork to make your life easier. Okay, so where do we find, so I want to go on a trip, where do I find all the paperwork? So apologies, I'm on my iMac, it's a little bit different to yours, but this is the shared area. Okay, so we're going to go teachers, okay, then we're going to go departments. Okay, let's show you all the folders here, and now we're going to find trips, and this is the trips folder. Okay, so we're going to go straight into visit documentation. All right, and then what we've got here is the files here, so we are going to go straight into LOTC procedures, which I have here already opened up. Okay, and so if you're not sure what paperwork to use for what trip, this document will tell you what to use, but I'm going to explain it in a nice quick format. Okay, category 1, local learning area. Okay, this basically means all you need to use is a trip request form. So green, trip request form, and that's as simple as that. All right, if you're not sure what the local learning area is, I will show you in a second. Okay, all the documents are in the visit documentation, so it's very simple. Category 2, yellow, you're going to need to do an Evolve, a trip request. Okay, and this needs to be done ideally at least 2 to 4 weeks before. Okay, 2 weeks at the like sort of the latest. Okay, for category 1, to go back on to that timings, ideally we want it at least 1 to 2 weeks before, just because it needs time to sort things out. I know there'll be spur of the moment trips where, can I just pop down before we go doing something on money and we want to go buy some things. That's absolutely fine. Okay, but try and, if you could plan it into your lessons, that'd be amazing, but obviously we're very understanding as well. With your trip requests, when they're category 1, they just go to me to try and save Mr. Capel's workload. Category 2 goes to myself and Mr. Capel. Okay, so just put us both in the email for the trip request form, and then we can look over it and go from there. Category 3 is for residential trips, so these are for residentials and more adventurous trips. So if you're going to plan a category 3 trip, first of all, come speak to myself and Mr. Capel about what you want to do, and then we can see where we go from there. But I will help anyone that wants to do a residential or a adventurous activity to help them with the planning. I've got no problem with that too. But if you're going to do an adventurous activity, the Evolve, okay, needs to be done well in advance. So I normally do, when I do PGL, I normally do the Evolve at least 8 to 12 weeks before visit, because there's a lot to go through. The way Evolve works is it's very simple. You create the form, it then gets sent to me. I check it over. If there's something that needs tweaking, I send it back, and then it works like that. And then I send it on to Mr. Capel, who then will have a look through it. If there's some tweaks, goes back to me, then it goes back to you. That's the way it works. Okay, so just to go over it, category 1, trip request form, and that gets sent to me. Okay, you can't leave the school site until you get approval. Okay, that could be a phone call, that could be meeting you in person, or it could be an email. Okay, and the same with the category 2 and category 3. You can't go until you get your Evolve back. Okay, and you get your trip, basically get all the paperwork sorted and you get approval to go. Okay, so that is the basics of this document. Okay, and then the more and more you go through it, it talks about the approval visits, it talks about once it's been approved, okay, the visit itself, and then also after the visit. So it's talking about evaluation and stuff like that, and then each one is talking about certain trips you can do. All right, so like we said, local learning area, outside of local learning area, and then this is more risky stuff. Okay, so that's the procedures. You've looked through that, you know what you're going to do. Okay, now you need to book a trip request. Okay, so in the same folder, there'll be a trip request form, which is an Excel spreadsheet. Okay, and here we have here. So all you got to do is put the objective of your trip or the lesson you'll be doing. Okay, where you're going. Is it covering the local area? Yes or no? Yes, that's brilliant. All you have to do is a trip request form, unless you're going to be going to parks. If you're going to go to a park, then you have to check on generic risk assessment as well. Okay, the date you're going and times, the number of staff, number of pupils, okay, and then classes or individual pupils. So say, for example, you're in Auburn, just for Auburn, okay. If you're going Auburn, sorry about that, guys. Sorry, that was the old walkie-talkie there. I'll try and edit that out. So as I was saying, Auburn might be going on a trip, but another person might be going for another class. So just put the class down and then the added person. Next we have school minibus. Is it required? Yes or no, and how many? And coach again, obviously how many, blah, blah, blah. Names of staff involved, just do initials, okay. And then cover required, yes or no, and then please make it clear which staff, and then put all your costings in here, okay, and then this will break it all down for you. Once you've done that, send that, if it's to local learning area, to myself. If it's to the category Jew trips, which is outside local learning area or residential, send it to myself and Mr. Capel. So that is trip request form done. Okay, we don't want to say that. Lovely. So we are now going to look at your trip has been approved. Okay, you're going to go to the local learning area. Okay, but you need a minibus. So same thing, minibus request form. Let's just make it a bit smaller. Very simple form. Okay. Put your date that you require. So date you're doing the form, date you're doing the minibus. So is this a recurring thing? Are you going to be doing forest schools regularly? Potentially swimming. Fingers crossed we'll get that soon. And then what time you'll be using it and who's using it. And then if there's any requirements. So say you need a wheelchair access. So this can be given to Mr. Hall to make sure that the minibus is all ready and raring to go. Fuel in it, and then it's simple as that. All right. And then give that to reception, okay, and then that goes on from there. So that's very simple. Trip request, minibus. So as soon as you've got your trip request form and that's been approved, okay, get your minibus form in ASAP, okay, because minibuses go really, really quick. So we've looked at procedures, we've looked at minibus form, now we're going to look at the local learning area. All right, so here we have the local learning area. Just make it a little bit bigger for you guys. All right, so the form is very simple. The most important thing we're going to look at is we are looking at the places where we can go. So these are boundaries. So these are our local learning areas. So these are the places that as a school we have visited regularly and we know what they're like. Okay, if you are new to the school and you don't know where these places are and you want to go to these venues, you can still do a trip request form. But I would highly recommend doing a recce of the site before. I normally do this when we go to PGL. When I did my first trip there, I went down there to see what the site's like. And if you're going somewhere new, I think it's just good. So you've got an idea of what's happening. You don't go there and go, oh, where's the toilets? Oh, where can I go here? What happens if I go down this path? So I think it's really important to do a recce of the site if you don't know what it is. If not, if you do know the site, then these are all the places you can go. If you like some places added to it, just let me know, and then we can talk about it, potentially myself and Mr. Capel. The big change that we've added from last year, okay, is local shops and restaurants are now on the local learning area. So before people were going to the co-op, or not so co-op, but they were at Sainsbury's or Tesco's, which is slightly outside of our local learning area, and going to McDonald's afterwards for a reward trip. They would have to do Evolve before, but now to make it easier, and because most people have been to shops before, well, I like to think everyone has, this is making life a lot easier for you. So that's your local learning area. Have a look through it. Obviously, like I said, let us know if there's anything you want added, okay, or you think could be taken off as well. So we're always open to adapting our school, always changing, okay. So that's your local learning area. So hopefully everyone understands the procedures, everyone understands what is a local learning area and where it is, and how to do minibus request form and how to do your trip request. Okay, on here as well, we've got about a visit leader emergency cards, so we'll open that up as well. So when you're going on a trip, it is a good practice for you to have this with you. I definitely would recommend this when you're doing category 2, and it's got to be done for category 3 trips. So when you're going on a residential or adventure activity, you have to take this with you. Okay, so you have numbers of relevant people. So if there is an emergency, this is Mr. Capel is who you contact first, and then if no luck with Mr. Capel, you then contact myself. Okay, so you've got both our numbers here, landlines for the school, and these are both myself and Mr. Capel's numbers, so we can try and deal with the situation as best as possible. Then it's up to you to fill out these things. So if you're the visit leader, you put your name with a landline, which is normally the school, and then number, travel company. So for example, when I go to PGL, who's the emergency contact? That will probably be me again, because I'll be the person. Oh no, not me, I'm on the trip, so my apologies. It'll be Mr. Capel, because he'll be the person I call first. Visit leader, that'll be me, so I'll put my details in there. Travel company, that'll be the coach company, I'll put them details in there. The venue is PGL, so put that in there. Accommodation, put that in there. And then other, I might put, for example, maybe the PGL buddy who's with us for the time, just put their details in there. And then this is with the leader, and as well, you give it to your staff that are with you. So if there is an issue, they go, sweet, I know who to call, easy as that. Okay, so this is very good for category 2 and category 3 trips. Okay, so now we have gone through all of the forms on here. We're going to go back and we're going to look at a generic risk assessment. Okay, so for example, we are going to go to a park. So we just find this open up a little bit. Okay, so we're going to go to a park for forest schools to work on our play and social skills. So we're just going to load this up. Okay, so these are generic risk assessments made by Hertfordshire, as you can see, a lovely little picture here. And all you got to do is add in your own details and change the form to make it appropriate for yours. So this is giving you basically a base and a master copy of how a risk assessment should look for when you're going to play areas. So for your visit leader, who it is, that'll be me, visit details, so we're going to go to Gurbridge Park. Okay, assessment by me, and the date of visit, target date review, send it to me and I can approve it, my position, or Mr. Capel as well, and then date I approve it, and just make it appropriate for yourself. So look at everything, make sure it's right for the school. I know in some of them it talks about buddy systems for toilet, what your safety rules are for trips, because everyone's class is different, they might have different safety rules, but just make sure that that's in there, so that if the worst comes to worst, you can say, well, this is what happened to prevent the incident, so-and-so did this, blah, blah, blah. So you've got everything there that you need. Okay, so that is everything. Get the old finder back up. So, and then there's loads of them here, okay? That's your generic assessments. And then record, that's basically where you have, there's some old copies of risk assessments and trip request forms in there, but you don't need to worry about that. And then specific ones is where you can create your own, where it's a black pro forma and you can do your own risk assessments. But the generic ones are there to help you, okay, just to make life easier. So when you're doing an Evolve, okay, we recommend you're doing a couple of these. So say for example, I'm going to, where am I going to Evolve? I don't know. I'm going to the farm, okay, so I can do the farm, okay, because obviously it's outside my local learning area. Do farm, I do general considerations, and I probably do travel as well. Okay, so that's 3 risk assessments to do. And to be honest, they take about 5 minutes each to do, because you've got the bases in there, just maybe just change a few bits of wording. Okay, so that is everything you need to know, okay, of trips and stuff like that. I'm going to do a separate video now for Evolve. So as I said before, like, let me know if there's any questions, anything you need help with. Hopefully this video has been helpful. And yeah, any problems, give me a bell or drop me an email. Okay, hope it's really helpful, guys. Have a lovely day. Speak to you soon.